for the 6th episode of the Been Busy podcast. And we have been busy this week, babe. So I know I was traveling for work this week, so Shyrah was at home with the pup for the week. Been a while, and but you handled Miller well, and you did good.
Oh yeah. Hey, he's a wild man. Let's just say that we got a wild guy, but he's a lot of fun and get a lot of good walks in, a lot of good weather this week. So
Yeah,
I'm
it was a
very
good
very
week.
thankful and very blessed for that.
I was in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana, for work this week. It was a good week though. It was good people, good work. Um, been traveling down to Louisiana this time of year for some work stuff the last couple of years, and it's always fun. Great food. First off, I think some of my most
Yeah,
favorite
your
food
favorite.
is Cajun food. Was in New Orleans last year. This year a little bit outside of Shreveport, but it's for me personally, my favorite food is in Louisiana. So I enjoy going down there, and it was a good week and good weather. I mean, my goodness, the weather this past week, it felt like spring, which was we've been looking forward to that for a while. So that was nice. Yeah, we've been waiting.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting. And this week, also happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm wearing my green. You are not, I noticed, but happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody that celebrates. Hopefully, you get to do something fun this weekend or doing something
Hey,
fun on
I had
St.
my
Patrick's Day
green shorts
tomorrow.
on this morning.
And what else exciting? Okay. Chris and I did a hot yoga class this morning. I'm really mixing it up on him, throwing him in for a few loops every little bit. He goes, he enjoys, he knows the benefits. It was entertaining this morning. Bless the wonderful girls at Highland Yoga in Nashville. If you really want to get a hot yoga class, fabulous. They have them in Atlanta as well. I will highly recommend them. But my blood sugar dropped below 40, and then I had to step out of class. I was fine. And Chris is over there just like, are you good? I'm like, I'm great. And they're checking on me, but just such a great place to go. We had a great time. Um, and it was just such a good
Yeah, we
workout
thought
this
maybe
morning for
I'd be
Sunday,
the
like a
one
nice
that'd have to
recovery.
check out, early, and you were the one that were like, I gotta go out of here for a second.
I was like so mad because I was like, I felt fine, but I know my numbers were going to drop really fast. And I look over at Chris and I literally, that's my actual thoughts was, I had to step out of class, not Chris. And if you've ever been in class or worked out with me, that's the last thing I want to do. So, we had a great time. It's such a
Yeah, it
great
was.
studio. Go by and see them. They're
Shira's
awesome.
been trying to talk me into going to a hot yoga class for a while, and I've been to one before with Shira about 6 years ago. I'm good for one class every 6 years on the yoga stuff. And I don't not like it. I can do it. It was a good class. I Yeah, I
Tell
just
everyone you
personally
don't like
don't like
yoga.
being in one spot in my sweat, and I sweat a lot. So, like, I don't mind, CrossFit was fun, running's fun, lifting, but I can like get away from my sweat puddle and move over. Yeah, being in the
Yeah,
class, it's usually
exactly.
pretty full. You don't have that much space to kind of navigate around, and so I'm just like dripping. Yeah, I'm
Your
just
mat's
all the
absorbing all your
sweats,
sweat,
it's
your
my
towel.
towel soaked, so I don't really have anything else to wipe off with. And so I just gotta and then at the end, you gotta lay in it for the final pose of the class. And again, it was fine.
We definitely were the sweatiest people in the class too, and we are the sweatiest people. It doesn't matter if we're in any class. Like we could go to CrossFit, we could
Yeah.
go to the
So,
gym. We are the sweatiest people together. So that's what makes us a great couple. We understand things like the rubbing of our legs together, the
yeah.
all the issues we've had our whole lives. Yeah, if you guys understand, if not, sorry, it's a lot of information, but That's one
Yeah,
reason
I
why we
mean,
do really
we
well
work
together.
out, we squat, we
So
got
we
thick
understand each other.
legs. You know, luckily flexible though. You know, hot yoga. Personally, you know, I was touching my toes. I was doing kind of the harder stuff. I'm flexible, you know, but
Be great.
yeah. So
And
it's
you
you know
know
I know the
your
poses.
poses.
I followed along pretty well, and again, it was good. I stretched. It felt good. Um, Sounds like we're gonna go again next Sunday. So I'll be good for 2 classes this time around, but after that, probably take another little break for me personally until the next yoga class. Maybe in the next six years from now. So 2030, 2031, I'll do another one just to make sure I can still do it. You know, it's a good test.
Hey, hey, again, just remember, it was a joy and it was a really great experience. And you
Yeah,
just gotta
no, it was
get a
good,
mind
and
over matter in those
just proud of
situations.
myself this week while traveling. The hotel we were at, again, we were in the middle of nowhere, Louisiana. It was a very old hotel we were staying in. To be honest, it felt like we were in like an old person home, like a nursing home. And it was kind of funny because there was actually like the Louisiana Funeral Directors Convention at this hotel. Um, which was very fitting. So, but I did all that
Okay.
to say the gym was not good. But I still did my workouts most mornings. Got up, did some single leg lunges, single leg squats, push ups, sit ups, stretched. So,
Yep.
knowing I was going to eat all this good Louisiana food, I still did my morning workouts. And it was, we did good. We stayed on track
Love
this
it.
week, ended it with some hot yoga.
Love it. Right. Love it. Proud of you. My week was good as far as workouts. I write our own programming now, which has been a lot of fun. And we're like on a 6-7 week um, progression. And so it's been a lot of fun and I've been really enjoying it and just getting stronger on some areas in my life. One of mine is my arms. I have always been, since being a volleyball player, being a libero, I've always had legs and no arms. And so one of my goals this year was to focus on my arms a little bit more, but still have really toned legs. And so I'm really proud of the progress I've made so far in 2025. And then also just, I hit a lot of solid core classes this week. You know that I love solid core. It's a nice change of pace for me. And they have an advanced class now, which I've done 400 plus classes of solid core. I'm a big proponent of it. It kicked my butt. Anytime they change up something, I love it. So I highly recommend hitting a solid core class as well if you have one in your area, or if you ever come to Nashville and want to do one with me, I would love it as well. But great core, great resistance, low impact for me. It's also a great way for me to lower my blood sugar. It's been probably one of the best ways for me to lower my blood sugar. And sometimes it doesn't do it because, being a type 1, I can't control it always with exercise. But I will say it's been one of my more favorite ways to lower my
Yeah,
blood
you
sugar. And just,
definitely
I feel
crushed
amazing
solid
when I'm done.
core, over 400 classes, which is very impressive. I've only gone once to a
Yeah.
solid core class. It was enjoyable. I have some limitations just from some, former football injuries. It's kind of hard on the knees for me personally, but I know you really like it. I've been enjoying. Our gym has these massive garage door openers, and so when the weather's nice, it's super refreshing to feel
Yeah.
the breeze. And they have a whole outdoor section. And I know you spent some time out there Friday, I think, when we went. And they got a turf and tires and all that, like
Yep.
basically all equipment inside. They also have outside to use.
Let me tell you why I love our gym really quickly to add to your window story. It's outdoors and we're in East Nashville. And if you've been in East Nashville, you know it's free entertainment all the time in the community. We have the most eclectic, lovely people. And I got to get a workout and there was a hula hooping group going on outside in the parking lot. And they had great music and they were hula hooping. So I was like, I got a show when I worked out. It was awesome. I actually was like super enjoying it. And I was like, man, these people are so talented, and it was just really cool. So you never know what's gonna be happening in East Nashville. But yeah, I did a bunch of farmers carries,
Yeah,
and I
I
was
saw
able to have
them
a show
from
with
the
it. So it was awesome.
inside window, and there were several of us that stopped and started watching. And before long, 7 minutes had gone by, and we were still watching them because it was impressive. It was odd. I can't do what they were doing with a hula hoop, but it was certainly entertaining to say the least. On a Friday afternoon at the gym, that was the last thing I expected to see. But nonetheless, East Nashville for sure. You'll either have a
Hey,
homeless
it was great.
entertainment or you'll have something random like a hula hoop group in the middle of a. I don't even know what shop they were at. It was like a
It
vaping
was great.
store that had
Well,
hula hoop people out in front of it.
it was great. I was enjoying it. It was also the music was really good. So it was like kind of like techno, but like I don't even know what it was, but it was great. I was like
Yeah.
so
No,
motivated and
that
moving
was
by it. So it was
entertaining for
great.
sure. Well,
And they were too.
switching topics, we'll get to some basketball here at the end. We know there's one more conference tournament game going on, and then the selection Sunday will take place here just about. Yeah, it's here. Shyrah and I, we were at brunch
Here.
this morning, and we were planning out our weekend for next weekend already. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's supposed to be beautiful here in Nashville, so we're already like, all right, which sports bar are we hitting on this day? Which patio has TVs? Which has the right food? We're gonna basically we'll know when Arkansas plays, so obviously we'll plan around that. But the fact that the next couple of weekends are going to be beautiful and sunny, this is one of our favorite times of the year, March Madness. It's finally here. I can't wait. I think I'm committed already to like 15 brackets that I'll sit down and do tonight. So it's here and we're excited. So we'll get into some of that. Um, Wanted to talk a little bit. Me and you have both been reading a book recently that has been one of the best that I've ever read.
Yes.
I actually bought it on the Kindle. Shyrah didn't. Shyrah hasn't gotten into the Kindle yet, but that's okay.
I'm trying really hard. I love a physical book. Like there's nothing to me like I love a physical book.
So it was
So
it
yeah,
was a
I'm
good
a physical book girl
recommendation. So
still.
Shyrah bought a physical book, a physical copy of the book on Amazon. So we've both been reading this book.
I think that's the first book I've ever read. I bought a
Yeah, you're
book.
getting better about
I
reading. I've been proud of you.
I love to read. I just gotta. Chris is an incredibly fast reader. Like sometimes I'm like, I'll sit down and I feel like I just crushed something, and he's like, I just read 2 books, and I'm like, how? Like some people are just fast readers. I would say I'm like a medium reader speed. I also like love to read, and I just feel like, but a lot of times I'm doing so many other things,
Yeah,
and you
no, for sure.
prioritize a little bit more than I
But
do, and I think that's great.
no, this book has been good. It's probably one that if you read books and self, professional development or is the kind of the way I like to phrase it. Mel Robbins has a book out called The Let Them Theory. I saw Mel Robbins speak a while ago at one of my work conferences one time, and it was about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 strategy to get started to do things that you
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily want to do, like wake up at 5 a.m. or go to the gym or to do anything. It's a really good book. But the Let Them Theory was a new one that I hadn't seen before. It's fairly new, and we've deep dove into it, and it's probably one of the best books I've read in a while, just for myself to better understand other people, how to interact, how to let Shyrah be Shyrah, how to let me be me, and both of us to understand each other as well as others. In one of the sections of the book,
Yep.
it's really important. It talks about how you can't change other people. So, as much as you want something for someone
Yep.
else, unless they want it just as bad, it's just not going to happen. So you could want somebody to, be the best in your company at doing something as you want. You could want someone to be healthier and make better choices as much as you want. You can make someone, blah, blah, blah. But until they want to do it,
Yep.
they won't do it. And it's the same with Shyrah and I. If Shyrah tells me to do something, most of the time I'm not gonna want to do it as much as if I want to do it myself. Hot yoga, for example. I do it because I love her, but it's not something that I want to
Good
do, even
one.
though I'm sure Shira wants me to do it more often with her. And same for Shira. If you tell Shira to do
Yeah.
something, I learned long
Yeah.
ago that does not work. Shira has to want to do it herself in order for her to actually do it. You know,
I'm also very aware
yeah.
of that too, and I
That
appreciate
being
you
said,
understanding that. So,
we have
yeah,
had some frustrations we've talked about this week, and it's one that I don't know. It's if this is a venting session, this is
absolutely.
a venting session. But you know, it is what it is, and if, I don't know if someone will get something out of this or not. But one thing we both have come to understand, and we're very motivated people. So you know, especially for when it comes to fitness and workout, you are more motivated than probably anyone I know. When it comes to food and healthy eating, you are probably more passionate and
Yeah.
more driven than anyone I know. I'm pretty passionate about that stuff too, but also, you know, work related stuff. When it comes to knowing what I have to do to get results, I just do it. You know, I've learned this year to maximize my time each day, to read the books I want to read, to get the workouts in I want to get in, to get the work and financial
Mm-hmm.
results I want. I have to put in the work. So that's where the kind of this frustration for us has come in, because I think both of us
Right.
have spoken with people recently, or people have reached out to us for maybe just like some motivation or questions on how to do things. And then the excuses come into play, and we're both not very good with taking other people's excuses. So,
Former coach here. So for I was a head coach for 14 years, and so former coach. Like I've always liked coaching, and I love it. And I'm like getting to work with some. I actually have some clients right now that I'm working with that are like so motivating to me. So it's like so cool to see them and some friends. So I love the aspect of coaching and being able to like encourage people, and I also like I want it for a lot of other people too. Like I want them to be successful. I want them to win. Chris is that way too. Like I want Chris to win. I want my friends to win, my family to win. And so like I think we're both in these boats of like um we got to do it, like get down and do it kind of thing. I also think with my situation right now, like being a newly type 1 diabetic and dealing with some other stuff, um I don't really have an excuse because it is how I have to live to be successful. And I don't want to add any more things that I can't control anyways. Somebody said the other day to me, I have a really good friend. The only one that I know that's a true type 1 diabetic that I've met, and he was telling me, like this is the one disease like you can't control. And I'm like, I know, and I'm such a control freak. And so we got to do everything we possibly can to, whether it helps you or not, but like, it's a healthy habit. I'm going to use the word a healthy habit to do, because you don't have a choice. And I think that's a great way of thinking. Like you have one body. I respect my body. I respect my body even more now because it's going through a lot of trauma and dealing with difficult situations. And
yeah,
so I want to give my
there's been
body
a
the very
couple of
best.
examples this week. You know, for one, I'm in recruiting. So, you know, my job and my passion is to help people. I play matchmaker, you know, so when there's a client of mine that needs certain talent, I go find that talent. Or, you know, if I've already worked with someone with a particular skill set, when I have an opportunity, I will get them matched up with that opportunity. But I literally had someone this week reach out, and they were like, "Hey man, you know, found me a job yet?" And I'm like, "No, still working on it. You know, how many, you know, let's talk about how many jobs have you applied for this week?" Zero. Okay, how many networking events have you done this week? Zero. I'm like, "Look, man, it's not my job. Like, yeah, I want to help you, but you have to help me help you. You've got to put in the work. You have to, you know, you can make this happen much faster than I can. While I'm here to help, I'm not here to do the work for you." Um, and then, you know, to the health stuff, you know, we've had a buddy who's like, "Hey, you know, what do you eat? You know, what do you take?" And then you tell them, you know, the routine, and tell them what we eat, and it comes back, "Oh, I can't wake up that early. Oh, I don't like that." And it's like, all right, you know, until you decide, get back to Mel Robbins, you know, again, we can't change anyone, but the fact that you know, sometimes you get asked to help someone or asked to do something and they don't want to do it. It's like, look, you control your outcomes. You have to do the work. And
Yeah.
it's hard. We know it's hard. There are certain things that it's hard to get motivated for, but I think we've both done a good job where it's like, look, the empathy. I'm not very good with empathy in general. That's something I've had to work on. As a marriage thing, I've had to work on the empathy and learning how to listen, and still working on it, trying to do my best. But when
Yeah.
it comes to wanting to accomplish something, my gosh, I don't know I don't know how to empathize, I guess. And I don't even know, and maybe you have some thoughts on that too, because
Yeah.
I just can't take it. When someone wants to do something and then they don't do the work to do it, my mind is blown. I don't know what to do. Mel Robbins, thank you for the book. I can't change anyone. I get it. But the frustration is just been there this past couple of weeks for me.
Yeah, I think I'm a pretty empathetic person, but I also think I'm a true realist when it comes to like getting the work done and knowing that it's work a lot of times. I enjoy hard. I'll be very honest. Like I like hard. Chris always says like, I'm so glad you get to give yourself insulin every day because you like
You
it,
do
like it doesn't, the needle doesn't bother you.
you
And I'm
like
like,
the hard
Chris is
path.
over there
You
like in the
do.
corner.
There's something about you that you love
I
hard, the
do.
challenge.
I
You love
will.
it.
I love a challenge. I love a challenge. And I think I'm also empathetic though when it comes to I try to put myself in other people's shoes always. I see somebody walking down the street and their face is down. And I like we were on a walk today and I saw somebody with their face down. I'm like, I wonder what they're thinking. Like I wonder what's going on in their world. Like, and I'm always trying to figure out a way to help too. And I think that's where maybe my empathy comes in is like how I can help support them feel better. Like I want people to feel better because I'll be very honest, like there is nothing worse than feeling like you know what. And whether you don't feel good healthy wise, whether you feel good like mentally, whether you're going through a difficult relationship. And I think that's something that I like to encourage people in a lot of ways. Um, but yes, I think putting in the work is when people are putting in the work, I can empathize with them and I can support them in a lot of ways. What you're saying is really hard is when you love supporting people but they're not doing the work and they're like, why am I not getting the results? Or they're saying, I I don't want to do the work, but I want to get where you're at. And that's really frustrating. And I think I keep saying I think I'm going to cut that out. But I really wish that people would understand that nothing comes quickly. Like diet and exercise for me, I'll use that as an example. This has been a lifelong process, and I hate even saying diet and exercise because it's a lifestyle for me. It was a lifestyle prior to having type 1 diabetes. It's continued lifestyle and a growth challenge for me, I think now. But I'll be honest with you, like we went out for brunch today. We don't eat out very much anyways. We haven't ate out much in the last several months just because of restrictions and different things, but there's two things I can eat on the menu a lot of times when you go to a restaurant. And that's if I don't want to have to insert insulin in public and deal with those kinds of things. So I am getting to the point now where I'm a little less empathetic, maybe because life is tough and people got tough things and mine is not even that tough compared to the person sometimes next to me. So my encouragement comes from is like, I'm going to say we all got tough shit. Everybody's got tough shit. I saw a friend the other day and she had tough shit going on. I saw another friend, she had tough shit going on. And I'm like, okay, like the thing we should be doing is encouraging, but we also got to do the work. And so, yeah, I think you're just like, you got to put the work in. And if you want to see
Yeah. I think
results,
we just
work equal results.
personally, I've been in this
It's simple as
tough
that to
little
me.
like tug of war lately where it's like, all right, let's be encouraging. Okay, like I'm sick of encouraging because you're not listening. Like, and again, it goes back, yeah, probably to the thing where it's like people want the result without putting in the work. And I don't know. I think I've read a lot of the, thank God I like reading and learning and growing and stuff. So like, these professional and self-development books, I've learned I really don't. It's hard for me to make goals because I'm so focused, I feel like, on the daily tasks. I know I'll accomplish what I want
Yeah,
to if I just do what
for
I'm
sure.
supposed to do each day. Wake up, get my reading in early in the morning, get that
Yeah.
workout in the afternoon. When it comes to work, I have certain tasks that I do every single day that I know is going to lead to results and growth over time and time again. And I probably had some really good coaches and work leaders along the way that helped guide me in that too. But it's just this, I don't know, I just feel like and this goes in a lot of different categories again, work, health, like people just want the result
Mhm.
without putting in the work. And I guess just like as someone who understands the work and that just the patience it takes on a daily basis to like to just know that's the process. It's just frustrating to see other people give up so easily or just say they want this and do they don't really
Yes.
want it. And it's, I guess it's more frustrating when you get asked to help and then you're just like, I can't help you if you don't want to put in the work. So I,
Well, you made a good point. You kind of kept saying the same thing over again in a good way. You were saying something, and the theme was consistency. And I think when someone's doing consistently putting in the work, like it's easy to support and encourage. And I think like that's a really good call out and something for me to even think about. Just as you're saying this is if somebody's putting in the work, like of course you're going to continue to encourage and motivate them and support them. But if they're not putting in the work, like you have to find that boundary of like what's self-respect for you and what's self-respect for them. And I used to think about this when I was coaching. Like I had the best like the best kids and the best athletes all the time, and they were always putting the work in. So it was easy to encourage them, and it was easy to be tough on them because I knew they could push themselves to the next level. But it's harder when you have people that are in your life. Maybe it's a family member or a friend or someone you work with or someone that you know, come in contact with every day when they aren't putting the work in. How do you encourage them in a way that's still respectful, but also where you put a boundary as a highly motivated person that you don't hurt yourself or get frustrated? That's where I think both of us come from in a lot of places. So that's a really good call out. And I think that's really where we are as like, and a couple is like, life is tough. Everybody's got tough stuff going on. I got a friend who's, you know, recommended this book to me as well. And she's dealt with, you know, brain tumors and cancer and different things like that. And I'm over here like, I have type 1 diabetes. My stuff's not even that bad. And so, and, you know, like we all have things going on. And I think like consistency comes back to the theme there is like,
yeah,
if you're consistently putting in the work, you're going to see the results. And my challenge, I guess, is like, I think the healthy thing is the balance between people that are not doing that. Don't expect to get a lot of
yeah,
encouragement if
exactly. I
you're
mean, you
not
can
doing the
either
work.
feel sorry for yourself and make excuse after excuse after excuse, but there's so many examples of people who have dealt with the same thing that you're dealing with, or we have friends who they have 3 and 4 kids and they still get a workout in, and you hear others like, I don't have time. You got to make time. Like, I don't know what else to
Yeah.
tell you. We go 100 miles an hour most days. And again, I'm not saying we're busier than anyone else, but we definitely like make ourselves busy with a lot of things. And so I don't know. I'm proud of you for keeping us focused on a lot of the health stuff. I'm proud of myself for doing a lot, balancing a lot this year and attacking the goals I want to accomplish the first 3 months of. You can see it. I don't know how to like tell anyone this, but like you just when you have this goal and you do it, and I can already see the first 3 months of the year, these things that I want to do this year, they're coming to fruition. So it's like,
Yeah.
just people, if you want to get something done, just do it every day. And in 6 months, a year, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, holy shit, it worked. I'm so much further along than what I was before. And so that's just kind of like, I guess my tidbit is just like, if you want to get something done, I know it's hard, just do it. And then when you look back after a certain amount of time, you're gonna see it's paying off, and it's gonna get easier. For me, waking up at 5 a.m., it's not. I'm a
Yeah.
morning person, but I'm not like a 5 a.m. morning person. But this year, yeah, but this year I've
He's a
gotten up
morning
at
person
5
for
a.m.
sure.
I'm like halfway through the Bible this year already. Like I'm 100 days ahead of what you're supposed to be. I'm ahead on books. I'm better at work because I've accomplished, I've done my minuscule goal task in the mornings. And so like 3 months in, I'm like, whoo, this is so worth it.
Yeah.
And now getting up early it gets easier and easier and easier. It's like a workout movement. You do pull-ups every week. By week 12, you're going to be cranking out sets of 10 and you're going to be, all right, what's the next challenge? So I don't know. Again, I hope people take this in the
Yeah.
right way where it's like, hey, if you want to accomplish something, put in the work every day. And I promise you in 3 to 6 months, you're going to text us and be like, oh, I accomplished this. Thank you. Hopefully it's motivating, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. I love it too. And I think, here's a really good thing that that comes to my mind all the time. And I used to put this on like my folders when I was in college, and I put this when I was a coach, and I gave this to players a lot, but the pain of discipline now or the pain of regret later. And you can say it in different ways, but the pain of discipline now or the pain of regret later. And I live by that motto because I think of it, and I'm super fixated right now on my life and my health and my nutrition, because I have to be. And I have a lot of people in my life, and we have a lot of people in our lives that they ask a lot of questions about health and fitness, and I just want to be a good example for them, and I don't want to be a fake, and I don't want to be a phony. And I really believe in like what I say and what I do. And I cannot share enough of like, get your health in line, get your mental health in line. There's so many aspects to health, and I could go on to that, and I can't wait to go on to that on the episode one day, but it's worth it taking the time to take care of yourself. One of my favorite things is like when I see families or parents working out with kids, because the kids see that as an example and it's a precedent set at an early age. And we have so many friends that are doing that and motivating, and your kids will respect you, but you will respect yourself more because you're making time for yourself too. So and again, I'm not a mom, so I just have a lot of respect for that. And I have a lot of respect for people that get up at 5 a.m. and maybe they work 12-hour shifts, or they go out at lunch. I have a friend, she's always walking at lunch. I'm like, she's killing it. Like, she's making that consistent for her. And so, whatever you're doing, like, you're doing amazing, and continue to do it. But I love that quote, is the pain of discipline now or the pain of regret later. And health is really important. And I can't stop sharing about it because you just never know. You just never know. And I would love to go back, maybe however many months or years I would be able to, I've always tried to be incredibly healthy and focus on this, and tell myself that again and again and again, because it's very encouraging. And for me, I have no control over my health of what happened to me. And so a lot of people do, and most chronic diseases, most illnesses can be controlled because of it. So I think that's another just good call out too, is like, it's important. Your loved ones love you.
Yeah. No, that's a great quote. The pain of discipline versus the pain of regret. I think most people regret later.
The pain of discipline.
Yep. That's probably one of the best quotes I've ever heard. So I think we're gonna we found the name for the podcast. Episode 6 is going to be that quote.
Enough on the serious of like life, but I hope we encourage somebody through that. And like, we're not calling out anybody in our lives. Like, we have a lot of good people in our lives too, and we just want and care a lot, and so that's why we do this. And hopefully somebody will listen to this and be like, heck yeah, I want to be more consistent, or that is important to me, or I'm going to do better this week. And that, for me, like, just sharing remind me something better I need to do for work related. Yeah. So I love it. I love that too. I do want to talk about the SEC tournament because I'm seething over here to talk about so many things. I'm going to start this off if you're okay with it. But I just want to say, I told you Florida was dangerous.
I told you I would admit it on the podcast. I was a lot low on Florida. And then watching them in this tournament, the SEC tournament, they are legit. And they...
3 fantastic guards. And if you forget, one of them was coached by Patino. So it's hard to not think that he's going to just have that in him innately like be ready to play at that kind of level. At Iowa, he was coached by a coach. So that's fabulous. But the other thing I've seen about Florida is they're kind of the full team. They are loaded. They have a full 4 that come in after. You got 5 on there, so they play 9 to 10 players. And really nobody else could hang with their defense this week. I was thoroughly surprised by their shooting, which I've watched them shoot all year long, and they've been fabulous. But their defense picked up, and they just get calls. Like, they just make plays happen. So I was like, said, kudos to Florida. They get down the court faster than anybody else. And I think Tennessee is a very good team that gets down the court very well. They were just beating Tennessee down. I hadn't seen Zakai Ziegler get any kind of ball pressure like he got from Florida. And I love Tennessee. I still think Tennessee's going to do well. I'm still supporting them. I still love Rick Barnes, but
Yeah,
Florida,
Florida,
holy
Tennessee, Auburn, and
macaroni.
Bama, all I think all have what it takes to make the Final Four, win the championship if they do what they
Mm-hmm.
need to do. Alabama, if they're not scoring, they're not a threat. When they're hitting shots though, Bama is also in that upper tier. They struggled yesterday, and they don't guard anybody, so if they can't outscore someone in a fast-paced offensive game, they can't do anything. I will say Florida, I totally underestimated them. They are, you can just tell too, they have a confidence to them, a swagger, and it's at the right time. Like that's what you need going into the tournament. Because on the flip side, you have Auburn, who there's something a little shaky going on right now with them. They're still good, but they
I told you about. I told you they're so cocky. They drive me nuts. Um, I've seen several of their players just be like a little too confident, and there's cocky, and then there's confident, love it, and then there's cocky. And I'm gonna say some of their players are really cocky. Even Bruce Pearl, you could tell was frustrated with them yesterday. Uh, and I think they played chippy sometimes. I think they play a little dirty. And they got caught this weekend in the SEC tournament because those refs called everything. I mean, they
yeah
were you touch them, they're calling a foul. So it was just very, very blatant to see Auburn kind of fold in that kind of pressure. And they did not like the pressure from Tennessee when they were back talking them and like, the trash talk that goes on in the game, which all of us understand. But like they could not hold it up. Like they were struggling. So I saw a lot of frustration on Auburn's faces
Yeah, but
yesterday
I will
that we
say
haven't
that
seen
was a
so
great
far this
game, the Tennessee Auburn game, and I I
great game.
I know a lot of people.
Great
I
game.
hate the conversations of like, oh, let's just lose so we can get home early and rest up for the tournament. I hate that because yeah, when the ball's tipped
Everyone
off,
played
you
like there
play to
was
win
no
the
other
game.
tournament.
And
I
yesterday,
mean, yep.
both teams, it was an
Love it.
intense game. They both wanted to win. They both want to win the SEC championship. And it was just a great overall basketball game and a great battle. They fought hard. And yeah, while Auburn
Yeah.
was frustrated, it also showed they cared and wanted to win. And they didn't back down. It was a good game until the end. Like, yes, it was chippy. They didn't, overcome
Very
what
true.
was needed, but they also didn't lay down kind of like Bama did yesterday versus Florida. Um,
Well, and Bam, I will say, not having Grant Nelson and knowing
could
if
be a
he's going to
big
play or
loss.
not, and knowing that situation, I mean, you, yeah, you can tell that they really relied on his leadership. I know Sears is like their leader in their blood, and I get that, but Grant Nelson brings a huge dynamic for them as far as how he plays, and they kind of like panicked without
When they
him.
gave
Like
up
they
an
looked
SEC tournament
uncomfortable without him
record,
on the court last night.
104 points, I think, from Florida. And that's kind of what I was saying earlier. They don't stop anyone on defense. So if they're not hitting shots, they're probably not going to win. Now, they're dang good at hitting shots most of the time and being, I think they were the top scoring team in the NCAA this year. So, again, more so than not, they're making shots and winning games. But in the tournament, it's one and done. If you have one of those days like you had, you're not going to win. You're not going to accomplish the goal of winning a title like you want to. But yes, Florida looks like a legitimate threat.
They have the three strong. They have three really strong guards, and when I say strong, like not only are they're great shooters, they play hard defense and they're
They just
good
look
ball
so
handlers.
confident.
Um, honestly, like very confident. They have several big men, and they play hard, and it's just fun to watch. Like they're fun to watch. They're just not. You look at them and you're like, they look good, and then you watch them, you're like, they're pretty good, and then they do something, and you're like, wow, they're the full package. So I'm going to support Florida. I think that it hurts me to support Florida because I really love some of the other teams, but I do think that they have kind of that it factor this year, and they're getting better each game. And that was something that it was very evident in the SEC tournament. On another positive, though, I have to do a little Arkansas shout out because I have to share something. Like being a former coach, I love watching coaches. And I feel very honored that first I loved Muss at Arkansas prior. I loved his energy, loved his passion. Didn't think we were gonna be able to get anybody better than Muss. I really just loved who he was as a coach. And having Coach Calipari has changed my world around. I wish I would have like really followed. I mean, I followed him when he was at Kentucky, but like wasn't passionate about learning about him. One of the coolest human beings and coaches I have ever got to witness watching. And again, I'm not in the locker room. I'm literally just a fan watching the games. But how he manages a game is uncanny to anything I have ever seen. He literally he can manipulate the game and knows how to run a game so well. It's just fabulous to watch. And so I've just got to see how he's made Arkansas, where he literally said, like, they put us in a grave, but they didn't put the nails in the coffin. I love this. I love this whole like kind of like play on how he's
Arkansas
like kind of
ain't
like
dead,
this
baby.
is our
We coming.
And yesterday it was sharing out very, very well that Boogie Flan is back. So Arkansas will have 8 players in the rotation instead of 7, which is that's a win in so many ways. And so having Boogie back will be really cool, and just his energy and his positivity that he brings to the team. But back to Coach Cal, like there's just 2 things I want to share about him. His game management, unreal. Like it's really unreal. If you ever take some time to watch how he runs the game and what he does, how much respect his players have for him is former players and current players is just really cool to watch as well. And how even when he's in an interview, one of my favorite things this whole year was, and I remember being in these spots as a coach at a much smaller level, of course, but he's getting interviewed by ESPN and one of his players is being like a little bit inappropriate, saying something, and he stops in the middle of it, calls the player out and gets right back in the interview, but like goes back and loves on the player afterwards. And just that relationship, like he brings so much out of his players, and it's really cool to see. And he says he's doing his best coaching, and it's fun to watch. So if you have some time, watch Arkansas. If you're not an Arkansas fan, I get it, but it is fun to watch Coach Cal and what he's bringing to Arkansas, and just his true passion for making people better, and that's what he does. And he's made Arkansas better this year, and it's been really fun to watch. A team that could totally have just given up. I think we didn't even have. Did we even have any players? But like the first signing, like I don't think we had any players this year.
It's been a unique season, up and down non-conference, and then started 1-5 in league play, and that's where he was. Everyone kind of wrote Arkansas off, including a lot of fans. I was tired of watching them. They weren't very good. You didn't know what they were gonna, if they could turn the ship around, and all of a sudden they play Kentucky on the road and get a massive win for Coach Cal at Kentucky, and their fans couldn't say about it. They were so mad, which made us so happy. But yeah, I'm like you. I was a huge Muss fan. It took a long time for me to get over that because of the success that Muss helped Arkansas achieve over the last few years. Was the most success I've seen in my lifetime with Elite Eights and Sweet 16s. You just wanted to keep that going, and then when we got Coach Cal.
Absolutely.
You just kept hearing the narrative from Kentucky fans that he was done and it just wasn't going to be the same. He wasn't going to achieve what he's done before, but you can see he is totally refreshed in Fayetteville, and he is loving the challenge of the difficulties of the injuries and getting the pieces to fit together. And oh my gosh, over the last few weeks, they are fitting together.
He manages the game. It is unreal. Yeah, he manages the game. He's patient. He may be like totally stressed behind the scenes. I don't know. But how he manages the game, the whole game, like you're right, having 7 players that can play right now, and how he's going to manage injuries and how he's going to deal with this stuff off the court. And you have your 2 best players that aren't even traveling with you this weekend to an SEC game. And how do you get those players still motivated to win? And what I saw at Vandy, which was like Vandy was a team that I think a little overrated, no offense, Vandy, and Nashville Vandy fans. A little overrated, but a good team. Good team for Vandy. By the way, we went to that game. The fans there at Vandy, like they are diehards. Like
9 p.m.
hated Arkansas. It was,
yeah.
Like this is not right, but it is now apparently. But anyways, I love seeing how like we overcome. I mean, Vandy was hot. They were shooting well. They were out rebounding us, and how we made some changes, and how he's continually made changes. And just it's fun. Like he's a confident coach. He's very cool of how he handles things, and then he knows when to turn that spark on real quick and how to get his players. His coaches work well for him. It's just cool. It's cool to watch. So very enjoyable experience. Super thankful to have Coach Cal. Who knows what Arkansas is going to do in the tournament, but I wish them and Coach Cal all the best of luck because
And Adu's playing
that is
his
a class
best ball
act for sure.
now. Brazil has been an
Right.
animal the last few games. We lost a
Yep.
heartbreaker in the SEC tournament this week, but we look like a completely different team now than we did 2 months ago, which is exciting. And we'll find out here in a little bit who we play this coming week in the tournament. We went from not being in the tournament at all to we're definitely a lock. So that'll be fun. March Madness is always fun, but for us, it's always more fun when the Hogs are playing.
Yes. Yep. I'm down for that. I think it's going to be great. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Selection Sunday goes live in an hour. I just thought before we finish this podcast today, first of all, why I love Adu so much. He played for Tennessee. If anyone was a Tennessee fan last year, I just thought he was the most unique player who had the most unique player style. And I loved how Rick Barnes was able to coach him, and I love how Coach Calipari is able to coach him. He's just fun. He's fun to watch. He's very quiet. He has a very different demeanor, but how he gets motivated to play and how hard he plays has been something I've enjoyed watching over the year. I think he's a fun leader as well, and I think he's just cool. He's a silent assassin kind of player. But I also want to say, what are your predictions just now, as of today? Who's going to win it all? Your prediction, who's going to win it all?
Definitely gonna put Florida in my top
on the spot.
5. To change that up a little bit.
But who's going to win it? Who's going to win it? You're just calling it today.
What Jay said yesterday. He said, while the SEC is by far top to bottom the best conference, he said, don't be surprised if the best team holding up the trophy at the end of this tournament isn't, someone like a Duke or a Houston or somebody outside the SEC. And I thought that was very important to say because I know we're both high on Houston, who did win the Big 12 championship last night. And then Duke won the ACC title without Cooper, showing that they can win without him, although they're going to be a lot more dangerous with him. And it sounds like he's going to play next week. So for me, I don't think I'm changing my pick.
You say a Cinderella team is going to
but I know I
picked
picked Auburn a couple of weeks ago, and they could go one of two ways. They're either going to lose early, or they're going to use these close losses as motivation, and we're going to see the Auburn we saw early in the year. I hate to do this, but I think I'm going to go with Florida. They just look like the most dominant. When you're playing that well at this time of the year, that is a good indicator of probably what could happen in this tournament. They look unstoppable.
Yeah. I love it. I think that's a good call. I'm not going to go with Florida. I still think that they're going to be in the top 4. I'm not going with Florida because you're going with Florida. That's, to be really honest. I'm going to go with Houston still. I am so sad that one of their bigs is out right now, and I don't know if he'll be able to play. It doesn't sound like he's going to play in the NCAA tournament. But I think they are so gritty and they are so tough. And I saw them play tough yesterday, and it was kind of cool. But I'm going to go with Houston. But I think there's going to be some massive upsets this year in the NCAA tournament. So I'm excited. And then last but not least, we cannot leave our ladies out because it's International Women's Month and we had International Women's Day. Who are we calling for your NCAA Women's? Oh, by the way, sorry. If you have not seen the Kim Mulkey press conference, where she calls out the LSU fans for leaving early, go watch it. She is legit. I love her. I love how she is so passionate about her team. So go watch that one. But anyways, who is your women's team this year?
I think the women's coaches they may have more star power than the men's coaches right now. When you've got Mulkey and a lot of them, Dawn, there's some star power on the women's side. But I'm not changing my prediction from what I said a couple weeks ago. I'm with
Yep.
UConn. I'm with Paige Beckers. I think at this point they are the betting favorite from what I saw, and so apparently Vegas feels the same way I do, or I
Mhm.
feel the same way Vegas
Thanks.
does. I'm not changing my opinion. I'm riding with UConn
Yep.
to the end in this one.
All right. Maybe if
Yes.
okay, if UConn wins, I'll
Whoa.
buy you the
Hold
Paige
on.
Beckers jersey.
Say
Deal.
that again. Say that again.
I said you got it. You've got it in
If
recording.
UConn
It's you
wins,
heard it.
I get a Paige
Um.
Beckers jersey.
Yes, I'll get your
Correct?
Paige
Okay. Deal. It's live. Everyone heard it.
deal. Deal. Okay. Yep. And then I'm going to go with South Carolina. I just think they're too dominant. I think they've had a few downs this year, which is good for them, a few losses, and I also just think again Chloe Kitts is playing her best ball. And I think when you have a player like that who's confident, everybody else plays better around them.
All right.
And so
Well,
I'm
both
gonna go with South
brackets will be
Carolina.
released here soon, and we'll make brackets for
Oh,
both the men's and women's tournaments. And so, again, that's probably my night tonight. I'm going to sit on the couch with my iPad, probably do 15 to 20 brackets, which I can't wait to do.
yep. Yeah, and one thing I was gonna share, what we'll talk about where we go and where we watch at next week, and then also like what we eat. So like if you're health conscious, concerned, maybe you're not. Sorry if you are not, but if you are, like how I eat, how we eat when we go out to certain places, they don't have a lot of options. We'll share all the fun things that we are able to do with sports, diet, nutrition, you name
Yep,
it. We'll
that's
add
a
it
good
all in
idea. So,
next week too.
no, well, we're gonna jump off here, go catch Selection Sunday, see what the brackets look like for both the men and women's side, and yeah, that'll be a good next episode. Like I said, we've already planned where we're gonna be next weekend for the most part. It's supposed to be beautiful, sunny and 75. You cannot find better patio and rooftop March Madness watching weather. So we're excited, but no, let's go check out this Selection Sunday and see where the Hogs land, baby. Woo, Pixie.
Love it. Peace.